Okay, so let's go ahead and break down what the question is telling us. Write the equation of a conic section for an ellipse at center -2, 5. So this gives us our value of h and k. Now, vertical minor. The minor axis is b. B is not the whole thing, though. The entire axis is 2b. So they're saying that and telling us that b is equal to 3 in that statement. Now, the next piece of information that they tell us here is that the distance between the center and one of the foci is 4 units. Now, because they say it's this gives us the value of c, and they tell us that c is equal to 4. Now, the only thing that we need to find now is we have to go ahead and find a. We find a by the formula c squared is equal to a squared minus b squared. Now, in an ellipse a square, a is always larger than b. A is half of the major axis and b is half of the minor axis, the entire length. So this is the Pythagorean relationship between these pieces. So I have that 16 is equal to a squared minus 9, or that 25 is equal to a squared and a is equal to 5. Now, the general form for an ellipse is x minus h squared over a squared plus y minus k squared over b squared is equal to 1. So our general formula for this would go ahead and be x. Now remember, what we have here inside our formula tells us that we have to go through and change the sign of both h and k. So that leaves us with x plus 2, quantity squared. This is the major axis, so this is over a squared, or 25, plus y minus 5, quantity squared, all over 9 is equal to 1. All right, to go ahead and graph that, that's going to be at -2 up at 5 for the center. Now our major axis is 5 units long. So that gives us a point here at 3, 5. I want to make sure you go through and label that point here. Subtracting 5 from our center, going in the opposite way, we have -7, 5. All right, and then on the vertical axis, we have -2, 8. Oh, I forgot. Make sure I label this one over here. That was -7, 5. Going down in this direction, we have -2, 2. And then we can go ahead and draw in our ellipse. And just to recap, let's make sure we go over how to find the points. When I say A is 5, what I'm talking about is I go from my center point, and that means in both directions, I'm going out 5 units on the x-axis. That's how I'm giving those new points. +5 in one direction, -5 in the other. Now, the next portion here, we already talked about what happened before when we had b was equal to 3. So what that means is I am going to add that. That's on the y direction. So in this case, I add 3 to my y value from the center. And then on this direction, I go subtract 3 from my y value. That's how I get all of the points to go ahead and graph the equation of the ellipse.